Today, I'll be talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and its dissemination of misinformation about vaccines, COVID-19, and racial targeting. I believe that his actions have contributed to widespread public confusion and heightened mistrust in medical science. This case study is very current, real, and actively threatens our democracy. The primary focus of my discussion will be the false and racist narratives associated with vaccines that he began airing around the beginning of the pandemic. The spread of false information in hopes to gain a certain result/outcome is nothing new. RFK Jr., 2024 presidential candidate, has been caught various times on camera airing falsities revolving around vaccines, and he has made various inherently racist comments about Asians, Blacks, and Jews. His rhetoric has strong implications of racism, fear-mongering that aims to manipulate American voters in his favor. RFK Jr. claims he's a proponent of vaccine safety, but in reality, he's just one of the country's most prominent anti-vax activists. Racialized disinformation is designed to mislead a targeted demographic on purpose. In other words, it aims to erode trust, further dividing communities, which further threatens the rights of minorities. RFK Jr. is not only outrageously out of line, but also a danger to democracy. His rhetoric and speech further fuels the mistrust in the government among Black Americans and actively undermines public health efforts. Prior to my research, all I really knew about RFK Jr. was he was openly anti-vax. In 1347, the Black Death began spreading in Europe. By the spring in 1348, rumors of deliberate plague poisoning through wells had sparked. Accusations against Jews spread rapidly, and as a result, violence erupted against Jewish communities, leading to massacres. The question I asked myself is, did RFK Jr.'s words contribute to the rise in hate crimes during the pandemic? Did his rhetoric align with the ideals of racist white people? What has become strikingly clear is that it is especially dangerous when one uses rhetoric to sway and manipulate a targeted population that already has preconceived notions floating around in their head. What I mean by this is that by making racial assertions in public discourse catered for racists is like throwing gas on fire, actively solidifying racially motivated hateful ideologies. From the evidence I gathered for this case study, it's pretty apparent that RFK Jr.'s rhetoric has specifically targeted the emotional strings of Black Americans. Furthermore, he alleges the U.S. government uses Black people as test subjects for the vaccine. With his framework, RFK falsely claims that vaccines are harmful to Black people's health and references the Tuskegee syphilis experiment as a comparison. For context, the Tuskegee experiment left many Black Americans with a lasting mistrust of the government and vaccines. Drawing parallels between the COVID-19 vaccine and the Tuskegee experiment is not only inaccurate, but also dangerous, since it reignites feelings of mistrust in the government among Black Americans. I hope my analysis of this case study was adequate and highlights the misinformation spread by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a well-informed manner.